don't know if you should if we should count from 10 down. If you start from 5 and then we should start.
Oh, start. Yeah, you can do a countdown. Go for it.
How did they start in those famous TV shows? They
Yeah,
usually
it's
count.
like 5, 4, 3.
2, 2, 1. Let's go. Hi, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, wherever you may be. I am Naftal Zinyemba. I am part of the Start Our Shift crew, and I'm introducing you to a new program that we have called BE.U. program. Yeah, that sounds right. Called BE.U. So BE.U. is basically Black excellence uncovered. Excellence is not usually put side to side with blackness. Usually when we think about something that's excellent, we usually don't think about someone in our community. We always think about someone externally. But our shift right now is to focus on you. As a Black professional, as a Black individual, in whatever aspect of life you may be going through, to remind you that you too are excellent. But today, we have my one and only my friend Joanna.
Hello.
Joanna Briggs. I'm just gonna let her introduce herself a little bit.
Thanks, Naftal. I'm Joanna. 9 to 5. I work in finance. So yeah, a financing company, specifically in sales, and I've been there just over 2 years now. And then outside of that, I have my social enterprise, What Matters CIC. Go check it out. But yeah, there we try to help young people basically navigate within the adult world and the career ladder. But yeah, that's basically me in a nutshell, to be honest.
Oh, cool. Well, there's a lot more, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
We'll get into that.
What caught my attention is that you mentioned an enterprise. And for our lay thinkers out there like me who have no idea what you're talking about, can you just give us a little rundown about your project that you're doing now?
Yeah, of course. So What Matters, like I kind of touched on, is there to help young people navigate in the working world. So ultimately, we try and teach the lessons that mainstream education doesn't teach. So we specialize in financial literacy, confidence building, and networking, because we believe that an understanding in those 3 things will help you basically from point A to wherever you want to go. It originally started when I used to work at university, and I realized that there are quite a few barriers that are invisible to a lot of us young people that actually hinder our progression, if not stunt it completely. And when I found that out, I was like really shocked, because I was just ignorant to it, like most of us are. So What Matters was born in trying to help break those down and help people on a personal level, really, and meet people where they are and help them to where they want to be, really, but also have, I guess, a clearer understanding of what they're getting themselves into. Because yeah, the powers that be, it's better for them if people stay ignorant, because they continue winning off the back of people not knowing what they're doing.
That's true. So that's awesome, because I like how you're focusing on different aspects to obviously empower the young people in whatever roles they want to go into. So for you thinking about this, what was your main inspiration? What was that quick, okay, like I need to do this and this is what I'm going to achieve?
Yeah, well, actually, it was a couple of things. First of all, when I worked where I did at the university, I realized that number one, I can't work for someone my whole life. So I was thinking, right, I need to do something, like, it's either going to be a business or something else. But number 2, it was recognizing that the nuances or almost the social politics that goes behind progression and career development isn't something that a lot of people are privy to and don't know how to do the dance almost. And that's something that I was able to learn in the roles that I've had, and also through the mentorship that I've had like in the past. It's helped me open my eyes to, you know, what's really going on. So from that, I realized, well, not everyone is going to have that same privilege, and not everyone would come from the same background that I did. So I almost wanted to be that person for other people, that, okay, well, I got the in from other people, so now I'll be your in, you know. And I get a lot of questions from friends, family, or just, you know, other people who follow the enterprise, asking, you know, how do I develop, or like what is the song and dance in the corporate world, you know, like how do I find those opportunities out there? And you know, it is strange, because it does just, like, the way they try and paint it is, yeah, you just come do your 9 to 5, if you do a good job you'll get promoted. Whereas actually when you start, you know, joining these companies, you realize, well, actually no, it's not as simple as that. There are so many other opportunities that you can get involved in, or gaps in the market almost, that you can fill, that will then have you standing out and be the go-to person almost, to help, you know, development or the company. So so yeah, that was kind of the things that sparked my interest in the enterprise.
That's awesome. But it seems like you're not exactly what you want.
Yeah.
It might not be as developed, but it seems like you're starting your journey, and you're starting your journey. And I think, to me, what sprung to mind when you spoke, the specific words that you used, you said song and dance.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I like that, and I just want you to just give us kind of what do you mean by that, and how does
Yeah.
that link to kind of excellence, that whole song and dance ideology?
Yeah. So specifically, when I say that, I mean, you know, like I said, a lot of people, when joining the corporate world, or, you know, fresh out of university and you have your first job, you think, right, you know, I've got this degree, 2-1 first, 2-2, whatever. I've now got this job, and I'm just going to, you know, put my mind to it and do a really good thing here or whatever. And it's almost that ignorance of thinking, well, if I do my day job well, someone's just going to see me, and then they're going to be like, right, you're the one for the next promotion. Whereas actually, you know, promotions are signed off in the workplace, but they're actually given, and it's agreed at the golf course, at the, you know, Friday drinks, at the dinners, at the soirees, at the brunches, things like that. And that's kind of where the song and dance comes from. You know, where are you sitting in a meeting, for example? You know, where you sit is so important. And I had no idea, but you know, if you're there, for example, to be challenging, or maybe you have quite a lot to say, it would be worth you sitting directly across the chair, because they're the ones who are going to be, you know, navigating who says what and when. For example, if you want to hide, you may want to be next to them, or you know, to the left or right, things like that, that you wouldn't necessarily think about, because you're just like, oh well, you know, I'm just here, I'm just gonna, you know, just continue doing what I think is okay, or will just get me by. And it's really not. And a lot of people are ignorant to that, and why wouldn't you be? Because no one said anything. And I think that is also where you kind of see a disparity between those who do have parents who may be, you know, I don't know, in fields or groups that already have that kind of entitlement or access, or that kind of culture, in comparison to people who don't necessarily have that, because for them that's the norm. So then seeing mum and dad do it, well then yeah, I know how to navigate those spaces too. Whereas if you don't necessarily have that, you either have to be very intentional with it, or you kind of fall into it. And you know, that's why I feel or that's was kind of my story, just kind of falling into it. And then that's where you realize, and I'm a big believer in, you know, helping other people come along the way. So yeah, that's what I mean about the song and dance. It's
I like
everything
that.
outside of work.
Yeah. I like the whole idea of the song and dance, because I've never
Yeah.
really thought of it that way. But it seems like things are going okayish for you, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because I like how you spoke about mentorship, and that you've had people to guide you along the steps. And I know from the conversations that we've had that you're saying that there's obviously things that you lack as well. But having mentors and having people around you, they've been there to kind of fill that gap where you've lacking and kind of direct you to that certain point, which gives me to my next question that I wanted to ask you. Like, so with all of this happening, so tell me like about the first time you heard of the word excellent, but targeted towards you. If you haven't, I'm gonna say no, you're excellent, which may be the first time. But like, when was the first time?
Yeah,
If
I
you can
mean,
remember.
it's such a tricky one because I feel like I've heard loads of other words or examples where that's what they meant, but not necessarily use the word, this was an excellent job. The only time I guess I remember it was when I organized a women's conference a couple of years back, and it was the largest one that they had and it was the most diverse one that they had, and students were really getting involved and stuff. And after that, one of the professors had come over and was like, you know, you've done a really excellent job. But it's not necessarily a word that I've heard of loads, but there's been other words that have been used to say, yeah, you've done a better than average job.
Better than average job. Especially in our Black community, you don't really hear that word. You don't really hear that word a lot. It's usually you did well, or like you did well, but like you could have tried and do this.
There's space for improvement.
There's a space for improvement. But I feel like we need to start this whole shift, the narrative of excellent. Like, even though there's gaps, but you still did an amazing job. You still excelled. You're still excelling in whatever you're doing. So thinking about this whole idea of excellence, let's rewind back not too long ago, because I don't want to expose your age. Not too long ago.
I'm still young.
Yes, I know you're still young. You're younger than me. But so like let's reverse back in time, and you're sitting down on a bench somewhere, and 7-year-old Joanna Briggs comes and sits next to you, and she asks you a question, and she's just like, can I ever be excellent? What would you tell 7-year-old Joanna Briggs?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. As in, excellence isn't something that is just totally out of reach. It's something that you work for. There are some things that you are excellent at just innately. So, you know, recognize those points as well. But if there is something that you want, like with hard work, dedication, put your mind to it, literally, you can do it, and with the right people around you. You know, I'm a big believer in, you know, you are a product of your environment. And you know, there's this saying that my gran always used to say. So I think it's a Ghanaian proverb. But show me your friends and I'll show you your character. And I remember when I was younger, I used to think, oh, okay.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, but the older that I'm getting, the more I realize, well, yeah, actually it's so true, because they are a reflection of you. And you know, not all the time, because I wouldn't say all of my friends are exactly like me. But there are certain parts of me in them and them in me, and you know, if you rub shoulders together, you're bound to, you know, past traits and whatnot. So 100% excellence is
So kind of what you're telling me, what I'm gathering, is that even if, like, growing up, even for the young viewers who are listening, or the parents who are listening, it's about like getting your children, getting the youth to be around like-minded people, people who thrive for success, people thrive for excellence, and funny people that you can joke with, people that you can relate to, so you can have like accountability partners. So when you're slacking a little bit at uni, someone will call you and be like, hey bro, remember you need to get that first. You need to get that 2-1. So you always need your community to be there to kind of give you that little bit of a push. That's excellent. So I've got a question then. I wasn't gonna ask you this at first because I wanted to ask you this. So when we've had this dialogue and when we have this talk, so for you, Joanna, what is Black excellence and what does it look like?
Yeah. Yeah, oh gosh, I kind of feel like I answered that, sorry. But
Yeah,
I guess
I want to build on what you said.
okay, good. Because springboarding from what I said about, Black
Mm,
excellence, being excellent already sets you apart from being average. But if we were to look
mm,
at examples of Black excellence, it is about that representation. It is about going that step further. It's
mhm,
about having vision. I think a lot of people think, visions, just the vision boards that you do in January, and you want the nice car and you want the nice house. But actually, it's a bit more than that. It's
mhm,
about accepting, yes, you see with your eyes open what circumstance you're in now, but having vision is also experiencing what you see when your eyes are closed. It's about where you want to be. It's about where you're going, who you want to be. What do you want to represent? What do you want people to experience when they have an encounter with you? That's vision.
mm,
And I think, that is what should, Black excellence embodies those things.
things.
It
Mhm,
it's a bit more than what your current situation tells you is possible,
mhm,
and it's doing it. Talk is
mm,
cheap, but actually
mm,
stepping out, especially if you're the only one doing it, because already if you're excellent, there's not going to be many people where you are, so you
mm,
are going to stand out. But it's about having that boldness, and just doing it.
mhm. So if Black excellence was a person,
Mm.
so like just think, as soon as you hear Black excellence, who do you think about? The first person that comes into your mind.
Oh my gosh.
Um, if you read on the screen, it says Naftal Zinyemba. Um,
Well, on the screen it also says Joanna.
Joanna.
Okay, but minus us two then, fine. Probably like Oprah or Beyonce without sounding like really
So
cliche.
cliche.
I know. But
But
it's the work
mm,
ethic that sets them
mhm,
apart. Like that really
mm,
is the case. Like Oprah, if you look at her story from like when she started being one of the first Black like talk show hosts, and like even on her show that people were calling her like doing monkey noises and stuff, like that is
mhm,
just crazy, like to think that even then she still found herself coming back to the studio again and again and again, and is now the big name that we know with her own network, and has her own influence in pretty much,
mhm,
I'm sure, everything. And then like Beyonce, yes, I know she's a superstar and whatnot, but it's also
mhm,
like just the blood, sweat, and tears that clearly goes into like her shows, for example. It's just crazy. And it's not to say that she doesn't have to do it, because her voice alone, I mean, she can just sit there and sing and people will still love it. But it is just the fact that for her, that isn't good enough. And I think,
mhm,
if we look at both of those examples, it goes back to the mindset, because from the outside looking in, oh yeah, you've done a great job, like that's fine, you could have done X, Y, and Z. But
mhm,
actually for you, you have to feel it within yourself that, okay, I could do this, but this is like, that's just what it is.
yes,
I want to go above and beyond and do more, and try and almost create a new narrative as to what a performance looks like, what a show
mhm,
looks like, what a
mhm.
social enterprise looks like, or studying. So yeah, those two, I love them
I
as
like,
well.
I like, I like those two as well. Especially because they're Black women.
Yeah.
Um, but 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 you mentioned something to me that that um that I was like, wow. When you mentioned how Oprah would and when she goes into the show, people would clearly come to the show clearly to just be racist,
Yeah. Yeah.
and degrade her
Mm.
and to try and kind of that whole idea to tell her that she's not excellent. But
Yeah.
like you say,
Yeah.
she keeps on waking up in the morning and still grinding and still doing her work in
Mm.
order to disprove these
Mm.
people.
Mm.
So right now, I just want to ask, like, personally for you, how do you navigate through some of the challenges? Because I know
Mm.
you might have not had any trouble or
Yeah,
or
yeah.
or any challenges. But if you have, how have you kind of reminded yourself, like wake up in the morning and be like, I'm Joanna and I'm awesome.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
how have you kind of overcome some of the challenges?
Yeah. That's a really interesting question because I I can't necessarily draw on an overt experience or example of
Mhm,
racism or a race related issue that had me
mhm,
feeling down and out.
mhm,
But I've definitely experienced things like imposter syndrome at work where I felt like, oh, I just don't even want to be here. Like I really do
mhm,
not want to be here. Um yeah, like I remember once at, my current place of work, like being in the finance industry, especially being in sales, everything is like numbers, everything is about like hitting targets and stuff, like making our
mhm,
brokers happy, all of this stuff, who, and even our clients, that they're not particularly like nice or friendly because they're just here for their money, or just like making sure you're managing their funds well.
mhm,
Yeah, and especially it was around the time of COVID that it like hit more because
right,
I had just joined the team, so I was actually meant to still be in training,
mhm,
but then having to work from home, I kind of felt like, oh my gosh, like my progression is being stunted, and like I'm not getting the support I need, and oh my gosh, now I'm making these mistakes, and I just feel like everyone's looking at me like I'm just
mhm,
really bad at my job, and I hate that feeling.
mhm,
And I spoke to like my friends about it and stuff, and I spoke to my parents as well, and it just felt like such an isolated like experience because first of all I was like, wow, I've never felt so low in a job before, because generally I've been quite confident in what I can offer a company or a role and
mhm,
knowing what I'm good at, where my strengths and weaknesses lie. However, this was the one time that I was second guessing everything about everything I was offering. And yeah, like the only way I was able to overcome it was confiding in the people that I trusted and
mhm,
just continuing to go on. And
mhm,
at
mhm,
first the quality of work wasn't great, because I was still down and out, and I was just like, I just don't even want to be here. But with every day, one day it's going to break and the cycle is going to change. So kind of just going on, churning on until you hit that break almost. And I did, and now it's totally fine. But I always think back and think, well, if I did leave the company or whatever at the time that I really wanted to, what would the story look like or have looked like in
mhm,
comparison to now, where literally like I get emails all the time talking about how helpful I've been, how great I am, and I'm like, lol, you have no idea what it was like a month or two ago, because
mhm,
like it just
mhm.
weren't the same experience. But now at least, like, I don't know if you've ever heard the saying, it's something along the lines of a happy ending is dependent on where you stop writing the story.
Yep, yep,
Yeah, and
yep.
it's true, because if I had stopped back then, well, it would have just looked like a disaster, really.
Mhm.
But with perseverance now, the story looks far better, and it almost becomes like a come up story, or whatever. So yeah, so that's like an example. But
Now that's a very good example. I feel like, especially young black people our age, when they're going to work, we
yeah.
experience a lot of that imposter syndrome.
Mm,
Um, but I like how you spoke about perseverance, and you spoke about how it's very important for us to persevere. Like,
yeah,
it's not the end of your story. There's always room for improvement. There's always room for you to get better at what you're doing.
yeah,
No one starts a job and they're excellent at it. If you
yeah,
do, you're a genius.
yeah. It's
but,
true.
but but for some of us, it's not. It's don't give up. You're good enough. Otherwise, they wouldn't have given you the job.
Yeah.
So you just have to continue persevering.
Mm.
But my last question then is,
Mm.
um, let's fast forward into the future,
Yeah.
um, and then we have like a 50-year-old Joanna. Where would you want 50-year-old Joanna to be?
50.
50, big five
Oh
zero.
my god.
Where do you see yourself in your black excellence, in your queen vibe? Where would you see yourself?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Let the court note that the house is going to be incredible.
Come on now.
But yeah, sorry. So outside of like all of those nice things,
Yeah.
yeah, working for myself, probably being able to be far more picky about like the jobs that I do. I'd probably have changed like my role within the social enterprise, because right now, starting out, I do a lot of basically everything.
Mhm.
With my team, I'm quite like hands-on, but by then there would probably be like a far bigger team, trustees, more directors, something. So it would give my hands a bit more freedom to do other things. And like mentoring and helping other people coming up. Like
Mhm.
I just couldn't imagine a life where only a few people are winning, and seeing other people who are in the same situation that they were in, and still being able to sleep at night. So probably running some kind of mentorship program, and trying to help, yeah, as many people as possible, and also have a seat at the table and bring other people onto that same table, in like making decisions that will also affect other people, that I don't know. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you had it here first, guys. Joanna said if she makes it, the whole squad is eating.
Literally everyone's
Everyone's
eating.
eating.
And if you know
And
me, you know I like my stomach, so good.
and I think that's such an important, I feel like that's such an important thing, especially for our communities, is to get to certain points in our lives where we are able to also provide for our communities, offer jobs for those, for people who are struggling to get jobs, and just to build a foundation for Black excellence in general. So I just want to say thank you so much, Joanna,
Thank
for
you.
joining BE.U.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. Just quickly tell them what's your Instagram, but like your enterprise one. What do people need to type in order to follow you and just give you some support?
Yeah, so on Instagram you can find us at what_matters_CIC. You can check out our website, become a subscriber there, where we send out loads of like insider content. That is also www.whatmatterscic.org, and you can also find us on YouTube, which is What Matters CIC. So yeah.
That was very professional.
I'm sorry,
Once again. Right. So thank you so much, Joanna, for joining us. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for listening to our podcast, our video. And I hope that you enjoy, and I hope that you can also start your shift wherever you are. Whatever you do, just remember and know that you are Black and you are excellent. So thank you everyone for tuning in. See you all next time. Bye.